Welcome to News Channel 9 Goes Pink. I'm Josh Rowe.
And I'm Latricia Thomas. We're here at the Chattanooga Convention Center where volunteers are busy getting ready for the big gala tomorrow night.
So many great stories about this event and around this event. We're going to try to tell some of those stories tonight.
That's right. First, though, a story about how age really doesn't matter.
That's right. The two most common factors for people getting breast cancer, being female and getting older.
That's right. News Channel 9's Lauren St. Germain talked to one woman who was in a very certain 5% and survived to tell her story.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in class.
Demetria Lindsay was 27 years old and in her last semester studying graphic design at Chattanooga State.
I couldn't process it. And how am I going to break this to my family? Like, how am I going to tell them?
She noticed a lump in her breast while showering, and her mom convinced her to go get it checked out.
When I was going to the doctor, they was like, oh, well, you know, you're so young. I doubt it's, breast cancer.
But after 2 biopsies,
they called me on the phone, and I was at school.
Doctors diagnosed her with early-stage breast cancer in February 2014.
For it to be your own child, I was devastated. I was like, no, you're not my child. She although she's 27, but she's my baby.
Because of health reasons, chemotherapy wasn't an option. Demetria decided to have a bilateral mastectomy with immediate reconstruction. Doctors began the treatment right away in March.
They were glad that I found it myself because I wouldn't have had another mammogram until I was like 30-something.
Doctors removed all the cancer.
I was excited, but at the same time, you still have a worry in the back of your mind, like, what if the cancer comes back somewhere else? Or, you feel an ache and you're like, oh, is that cancer?
Both Demetria and her mom believe this was a blessing in disguise.
Y'all want some water?
Live in the moment, because it was a big wake-up call for me.
Demetria graduated from Chattanooga State and is pursuing her dreams.
I cried all the way through the ceremony because I was just thinking that, okay, my child is alive.
And at 28 years old, can call herself a breast cancer survivor.
Don't let fear stop you from doing things. Just enjoy life.
Lauren St. Germain reporting there. One thing they stress is that breast cancer does not have an age limit.
That's right. In fact, one of Demetria's own family members had never had a mammogram. She had one because of Demetria's diagnosis, found out she had stage 3 breast cancer, and then was able to receive treatment. Treatment is something that we want to talk about right now,
sure,
and the advances in cancer treatment.
And to help us do that, we bring in Dr. Brooke Daniel to talk about some of the advances in breast cancer treatment. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Great, thank you.
Talk about, I know you guys are focused on personalizing treatment. Discuss that. Tell us about that.
Well, it's an exciting time for cancer care. We're looking at now taking someone's individual tumor and doing something called molecular profiling on that, where we try to figure out what genes are upregulated and downregulated. And based on that profile, we can target specific therapies to their specific tumor.
So that means every patient has their own custom cancer treatment.
Absolutely. And we're finding now as we get better drugs that have less toxicity and target more the tumor and less of our healthy tissue, we can come up with better drugs with less side effects and help people live longer.
And how is that done? I know it works with genes, and you also have a high-risk clinic where you can actually monitor some of these patients.
That's right. We love to be able to stop cancer before it even happens, and so we have a high-risk clinic. So if someone has a strong family history and it's someone that we need to screen more closely, we have a specific clinic for them where we can tell them whether they need to get breast MRIs, when to get mammograms, and follow with ultrasounds, and follow them more closely.
Some exciting stuff going on. Thanks so much, Doctor,
Thank you,
for
Dr.
joining
Daniel.
us. And of course, we're talking about advances in treatment,
Sure,
but also that treatment that we've heard about for years, mammography, and just how important it is for women to get a mammogram. But sometimes getting them through the door is half the battle.
That's right. Pink has raised more than $2 million since 2006, benefiting both the Mary Ellen Locher Breast Center and Memorial's 2 mobile health coaches.
The coaches travel thousands of miles each year, visiting almost 30 nearby counties, helping women regardless of their ability to pay. Last year, more than 4,500 women received screenings on those mobile coaches.
That is a great program. Another great program we want to tell you about. Cancer patients go through so much during treatment, but there's so many things outside of that doctor-patient relationship. Today, Flower Scalia is a happy, healthy wife and mother of 2 teenage girls.
I wake up and whatever day God gives me, I praise Him because I'm allowed to be here and enjoy it one more day.
But in 2012, 2013, her days were much more difficult and challenging.
Been sick for a long time, and finally we found a diagnosis. It was stage 2 colon cancer, and I went through chemo, radiation, surgery, more chemo. So needless to say, I was fragile and broken and hurt. I couldn't walk without every part of me hurting.
During her treatment, she leaned on her family to get through the tough times, but she also had someone else who helped.
Cancer patient, the emotions, you know, like you're high and you're low and it's like a roller coaster. And on those days when everything was really dark and you just don't want to wake up the next morning because you know what's coming the next day, Kim was there to say, it's gonna be okay, just, you know, let's call your doctor and see what we can do. Let's switch this medicine, you know. So she did most of the work. I didn't have to call my doctor. She did it for me and told them this is how she's feeling, what can we do.
Kim Shank is a nurse navigator at Memorial Healthcare System.
A nurse navigator, or the nurse navigation program, we pair a registered nurse, oncology certified, with a patient that's been diagnosed with cancer or has a suspicious finding for cancer.
Memorial provides the navigators for many different illnesses at no charge, and you don't even have to be a patient at Memorial.
We have navigators for different disease-specific problems, you know, colon cancer, lung cancer, things like that. But within our program, we also have social workers, registered dietitians, chaplains, all part of the care team that the navigator helps guide the patient to the appropriate resources, appropriate professionals to make sure their needs are met.
Hey, Flower!
But Flower will tell you, to her, Kim Shank was much more than a nurse or a voice on the other end of the phone.
You know, when I talk about Kim, I always say she was like that angel that God puts in your life at that time, because your husband can't relate. He doesn't know. Your children, you really shelter them so you don't really let them know what's in your mind at that time and what you're feeling physically. She deals with this every day, so she knows what I was going through, even though she's not a cancer survivor like I was. She knew how she got me. She knew what I was feeling, and that's priceless, and I love Kim.
And when Flower told us that, it was the first time Kim heard that too.
You know, that touched my heart, you know, teared up a little bit and everything, but you know, Flower's very special. All my patients are very special. Flower and I think just because of her young age, and she had such a hard time with her treatment, and you know, such a privilege for me just to be there and be able to help in little ways.
And when you see Flower there talking, you can tell how important this program is. There are about 2,000 patients in this program. There are 6 of those nurses. So you're talking about, on average, 330 patients they deal with. So they have a big caseload. They're doing a great job, doing great work.
And still such a personalized experience, which we're hearing a lot about tonight.
And those patients really do need someone to talk to those things about. So it's a good thing it's there, for sure. Welcome back. So much work going on right now. A lot of balloons being blown up and a lot of party favors being worked on as well for tomorrow night.
That's right. It takes about 50 volunteers to get this room ready for the peak extravaganza that'll be here tomorrow night. But there is so much more work that goes on throughout the year to help survivors of breast cancer.
That's right. At Memorial, they have a program that helps patients get hats, because obviously a lot of patients lose their hair during treatment.
That's right. But that's not the only work going on in our hometown to help during this time of turmoil.
Independent of hospitals, it is all about the breast cancer patient and providing comfort.
Before Janet Kramer-Mai was a breast cancer survivor, she was a breast health educator and navigator. But her diagnosis changed the conversations she has with her patients.
You always got the feeling they were like, honey, you just don't know. You know, pat, 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 thank you, give me the stuff, but you just don't know. So once I became a survivor, I always say I think God was just trying to make me better at my job.
It was in a care package from 3 great aunts that Janet received her first heart pillow to support her arm and keep her incisions comfortable after her mastectomy.
So it really helps to support the armpit and not let that arm drop down and pinch things in there.
Soon, Janet was giving heart pillows to all of her patients, made by volunteers both here at home and across the globe.
It's not a sisterhood you ever want to be a part of, but if you are the unfortunate one to become a breast cancer survivor, you do become a part of the sisterhood, and we look out for one another. So it's just, yeah, it makes you feel good that somebody out there is taking the time to hand make something for you and impact your recovery.
You don't know how it'll turn out. I don't know, but I know that I have faith that whatever happens, it's going to be good. I have that peace.
She was a beloved co-worker and part of the family to so many in the Chattanooga area. A wife, mother, friend, and activist. As Mary Ellen Locher battled her third fight with cancer, she worried about her son Alex's future. Seeing her time slipping away, she started the Mary Ellen Locher Foundation, providing scholarships to children whose parents have received a breast cancer diagnosis. In the past 13 years, the foundation has awarded 314 scholarships, totaling more than $600,000.
She wanted to make sure that people knew, though, that the main thing was that she did love mothers, and that was her favorite job, was being a mother.
You can also see Mary Ellen's stamp on the Mary Ellen Locher Breast Center at Memorial Hospital, where she wanted to make sure women had a comfortable environment for treatment.
Our entire family is extremely honored at having the new center, the crown jewel of your efforts to serve women, named after our Mary Ellen.
10 years after her passing, her message of awareness lives on.
When you leave as many seeds out there as what Mary Ellen did, I mean, trying to keep the garden in order is a full-time job.
And that is why tending that garden is part of the purpose here at News Channel 9, because of our connection to Mary Ellen, but also the knowledge that it affects so many people in our area.
Absolutely. Right now, we want to talk about this big event coming up tomorrow night. One of those people who helps put this thing together, Jennifer Nicely, the Memorial Foundation president. Talk about that. Tell us about that. Just how much work goes into putting this thing together.
Well, just today, we've had about 50 volunteers here, starting about 9 o'clock this morning, and you can see it's getting close to 6 o'clock. And they are still working hard. They have a long way to go tonight, but months and months preparation. Really, as soon as Monday morning hits, we'll be wrapping up and getting ready for 2016. So it's a long process.
And this is a fun time for people to come out and network and talk to people and talk to survivors. But really, for those survivors, this is a celebration of life.
It is. One of the highlights of the night is a toast for all the survivors. We ask them to stand and be recognized, and that's really special. And then also we have all of the caregivers who take care of them stand to be recognized too.
Sure, I know it's a big fun event, but I understand also that some of the doctors actually give tickets to some breast cancer survivors and people who are battling cancer right now.
We have a number of tables tomorrow night filled with breast cancer survivors and their friends or spouses, and a lot of those are purchased by our physicians, and that's just such a wonderful thing.
That's great. It is.
And the money raised from Pink obviously goes to the Mary Ellen Locher Breast Center and also the mobile mammography coaches. Such an important cause.
Yes, absolutely. So over 10 years of Pink, more than $2 million has been raised for all kinds of things. All of that money stays directly in our community, benefiting women and their families, whether it's a mammography coach we're trying to buy that year, some other equipment upgrade to the breast center, always making sure that the breast center has the very best that's available.
Okay, Jennifer Nicely, thanks so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Whole lot more from Pink coming up.
Stay with us.
Hey, and welcome back. We've had a good time here at Pink for 5:30. We're not done yet. We still have a lot more work to do, and these folks have a lot more work to do as well.
That's right.
They've done a good job of tying balloons to boxes. What's in here?
I don't know. It's a secret.
You don't. It's a secret. It's a secret box.
Yeah, there's lots of proofing going on, but an important cause. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up at 6, but for now, News Channel 9 at 6 starts in 60 seconds.